Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 12, which is entitled as Bhakti Yoga, Sloka 18 and 19. Śatrau cha mitre cha tathā mānāpamānayoḥ śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu saṅga-vivarjitaḥ tulya-nindā-stutir maunī santuṣṭo yena kenacit aniketaḥ sthira-matir bhaktimān me priyo naraḥ. Śatrau cha towards the enemy and mitre cha towards friend as well, samaḥ equal, tathā so also, mānā honor, apamānayoḥ and dishonor, samaḥ equal, saṅga-vivarjitaḥ as no attachment for anything, śīta in cold, uṣṇa heat, sukha happiness, duḥkheṣu and distress, samaḥ equipoised, tulya equal, nindā in defamation, stutir and repute, maunī silent, yena kenacit santuṣṭo is contented with whatever is lot, aniketaḥ having no attachment for home, etc. sthira-matir steady-minded in matters concerning the self, bhaktimān naraḥ the person who is full of devotion, me priyo is dear to me. Translation: one who is equal to friends and enemies, who is equipoised in honor and dishonor, heat and cold, happiness and distress, fame and defaming, who is always free from contaminating association, always silent and satisfied with anything, who doesn't care for any residence, who is fixed in knowledge and who is engaged in devotional service. Such a person is very dear to me. Krishna has covered 24 qualities so far. From these two slokas, 18 and 19, we are going to learn 4 more qualities. śatrau cha mitre cha. In the 13th sloka, adveshta sarvabhutānam, it was taught that one should consider one's enemies at par with the friends. The current phase, śatrau cha mitre cha, may sound similar to what we already saw in the 13th sloka, adveshta sarvabhutānam. However, the distinction between the 13th sloka and here in the 18th sloka is, over there the friends and enemies were in distance. Over here the friends and enemies are in close proximity. That's the difference. It is mostly with the people whom we live with, whom we are very much closely connected and related to. Maybe our own family members who are staying together, or maybe who are very very closely related to us, who are living close to us, tend to develop good friendship, good relationship. At the same time, it is also an opportunity for clashes, enmity, fight, arguments. As we know, the closeness and familiarity brings friction. Therefore, sometimes we hear that, how can you do this one to me? The reason is because there's a trust, there's a relationship. When someone does differently, then we tend to be very surprised and ask this question, how can you do this to me? The reason for this question is, I thought you are very close to me. You are related to me. How can you behave like this? How can you do things like this? The other person may think, because I am close to you, because I am related to you, I can do things like this. So this is always a conflict that goes on between the close relationship. But the reality is, it is quite possible when we are close with people. If the enemy is too far and harms us from far, it is useless for one to fume with anger, because the person is not staying close anyway. At the same time, a person who is staying close to us, we can show our anger in a greater degree. If someone close to us living in the same house, living very close by, then our anger that fumes has some effect. This is a common experience that we have seen. So this person, saṅga-vivarjitaḥ means even those people who are staying very close, whether it's friends or enemies, he treats them equally. So that is what it meant here, and that's how this one differs from the 13th sloka. The next is mānāpamānayoḥ śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu samaḥ. The pairs of opposites that is said here, that is honor and dishonor, heat and cold, are caused in our proximity, which disturbs the mind. It is quite clear that in a similar fashion that we just saw enemy and friend in proximity, likewise this should also be considered. The honor and dishonor, heat and cold, which is in our proximity, then we treat that also equally. Saṅga-vivarjitaḥ, free from attachment for anything, as he has no attachment for anything among the pairs of opposites like heat and cold, honor or dishonor. Because he is not much inclined or doesn't show any difference between heat and cold, honor and dishonor, whatever he happens to experience does not cause disturbance in his mind. That is to say, if events bring him honor, if even brings him dishonor, he does not rejoice, he does not feel sorrow because of these things. Saṅga-vivarjitaḥ, that caused by mānāpamānayoḥ śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu. Therefore he is able to be samaḥ, treat them equally, doesn't get affected due to these opposite pairs. So what we have seen is samaḥ, śatrau ca mitre ca. The next one is mānāpamānayoḥ śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu samaḥ. Next is maunī. Maunī means silence. But here, maunī does not mean a person to refrain from speaking. He refrains from speaking when he is praised, when he is criticized. That is what meant by maunī. Why? Because in the Shastras it has been ordained to keep chanting the names of the Lord. Chant the mantras. So we cannot take maunī means being quiet or not to talk, nor maunī means one who is constantly engaged in the contemplation of self, atma, because that will be conveyed through sthira-matir, which is coming later. So maunī has been interpreted here in relation to the tulya-nindā-stutir. It is generally noticed that one tends to praise those who praise him and criticize those who criticize him. Here, the devotee doesn't do such talks, whether he's been praised or whether he's been criticized. Maunī, tulya-nindā-stutir. Why? How can he be silent? Because the praise does not bring him joy, or criticism does not bring him sorrow. He understands it's all directly related to his body, and he is not the body. Therefore, he is not attached to the praises and criticism. He stays maunī, quiet. Therefore, santuṣṭo yena kenacit. He is satisfied with whatever chance brings him. This is also a reason for his silence. Only if one is not satisfied with what he gets, one tends to criticize others. Only when one gets satisfied when a person gets what he wants, he praises. In this person's case, there's nothing that he really wants. Therefore, he remains maunī, he remains quiet and be satisfied. Santuṣṭo yena kenacit. Again, this is a difference from the previous 17 sloka that we saw, where he does not rejoice, he does not grieve, he does not lament, he does not hanker, he is happy with what he gets and as it comes on its own accord. So there's a difference between that one and here. Here, everything applies the same, but this person remains maunī. He doesn't say anything when it happens. How can he be so? Sthira-matir, determination in those subjects related to Atma and Paramatma. His mind is focused steadfast on the self. Only if the person is preoccupied in his mind with self, he can be indifferent to other aspects such as honor, dishonor, heat, cold, and so forth. If the mind is not preoccupied in devotional service about Atma or Paramatma, then we will be occupied, our mind will be occupied with the external things, the honor, dishonor, heat and cold, etc. This person is sthira-matir, has a complete firm faith and determination in Atma. And the last one, aniketaḥ, that is the 28th in the whole sequence. What we have seen so far, the 25th in the entire sequence, the 25th quality is samaḥ śatrau mitre, and 26th is mānāpamānayoḥ śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu, and then the 27th is maunī, and the 28th aniketaḥ. Niketaḥ means residence. Aniketaḥ literally means no residence. But here it doesn't mean that this person is homeless. We are not talking about homeless people here. He has home. Even if he has home, he is not attached to that home. Here, home is representation of many other material objects and things that one may possess. How can he be not attached to his home? Because he is firm, sthira-matir. He is firm and clear in his mind about the self. No attachment for anything else. Fully focused on Atma in case of Karma Yogi, and fully attached to Paramatma in case of Bhakti Yogi. Therefore, it is not appropriate to interpret aniketaḥ as one who has no home, as it fails to apply in the case of householders, the grahasthas. The grahasthas must have home so they can perform their duty and devotional service along with the family members. And a house can be used for spiritual gathering, satsanga. Therefore, having home is not a negative thing, but how we utilize the home makes a difference. We have a beautiful, nice home, but we have never invited Vaishnavas. We never had any satsangas. We never done any such spiritual activities. Then that home has no value. But even if a house is a small house, a small apartment, when that house is utilized for serving the devotees, having kirtan, that house considered to be a palace, even though in size it may be smaller. So the aniketaḥ means a person is not attached to the home or any objects, even though he may have those things. So that covers the fourth quality in these two slokas. But overall, starting from the 13th sloka through 19th sloka, there are a total of 28 qualities being discussed. Next verse is the last verse in this chapter, where Krishna states that those who practice devotion for him, exclusive devotion towards him, keeping him as a sole object of attainment, are exceedingly dear to him. Samas-śatrau ca mitre ca tathā mānāpamānayoḥ śītoṣṇa-sukha-duḥkheṣu saṅga-vivarjitaḥ tulya-nindā-stutir maunī santuṣṭo yena kenacit aniketaḥ sthira-matir bhaktimān me priyo naraḥ. Namaste. Hare Krishna.